Hello guys and welcome to today's Los Blancos podcast. Today it is a big one. We've got the DERBI preview against Atletico Madrid at the Civitas Metropolitano. It's going to be a huge one. You know, this is obviously a huge game playing Atleti every season at that stadium. It's always a tense atmosphere, but it does feel especially big this time. You know, in recent years, I think there's always been a sense of, you know, things slowly starting to ramp up against Atleti. I feel like the tension now is at an all-time high. At least in my lifetime, I feel like this is the most tense it's ever been in a derby game, and it just feels really, really, really tense going into this game because there's been a lot of stuff going into the build-up from Atleti's fans. I would like to say, and Atleti's fan groups. That, you know, obviously some things are just simply not okay, and there's been a huge amount of talk from Atleti's side as well, and it just feels things are really tense going into this game from both sides, and I feel like this could be potentially a really heated game, one in which, you know, that could cause a lot of problems. So yeah, what were your thoughts on leading up into this game? Especially with all the stuff going into this game, how do you feel like this game is going to go?
Yeah, well, of course, there's a lot of negatives, positive lines going into it, with the biggest negative being, of course, the insults that some Atletico Madrid fans are planning against Vinicius Junior, etc. You know, that's the biggest negative. You know, of course, you know, we would expect hostility. Maybe a lot of booze, but the disrespect, sexism, and of course the unnecessary insults, of course, is not part of football that we should accept, because teams don't get that at the Bernabeu when they come at the Bernabeu. So, of course, it's a bit difficult for us to be on the receiving of that. You know, so that's of course the negative, but the positive is, of course, you know, how much of the play, seeing that they're just 5 games away from beating the record of the longest ever La Liga team that's unbeaten. So of course there's some big games through that, Valencia, Barcelona, and of course Atletico Madrid and play. You know, if Madrid want to achieve that. So of course with the Mbappe injury, a lot of the talk will be there after how does Bellingham play in the position that he played in last season. You know, how much it does, you know, starting a big game again. You know, there's a lot of good talking points that we can look forward to.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of discussion about that, and I think, you know, bringing it back to the unbeaten streak, we're on 38 games right now, which is essentially a full season, right? So you know, we're exactly where we were last season, where we lost the game to Atletico Madrid, yeah, and you know, that's a huge. If we can get over that line, get to 39 wins against Atleti, where we obviously lost our only game last season in the league, I think it would be huge. But I mean, historically, Ancelotti has struggled at the Metropolitano, and it's been a stadium that he just does not like playing in. And Simeone's obviously a manager he does not like playing against. It's going to be a tough one. It's definitely going to be a tough one, and we know Atleti loves to get up for these games because, you know, it's ultimately the highlight of their season, beating Real Madrid if they get to do that. And as a result, we're going to have to be careful about this, because last season we went into that game at the Metropolitano with, you know, a weakness, which is our ability in the air in the box. And, you know, Atleti saw that weakness, they saw us with that weakness, and they just kept exploiting it, putting crosses into the box, and, you know, completely just destroying us from that with that method. And they did fantastic at it, and they worked it to perfection. Alvaro Morata had a fantastic game that last time. Obviously he's now no longer there, he's gone to AC Milan, but you know, it's still, you know, we're gonna have to be careful that our weaknesses don't get exploited, because, you know, if there ever is a team, if there ever is a manager that knows how to exploit those weaknesses and just continually just get at you and make those weaknesses known, it is Atletico Madrid. And I think, you know, the only team that we lost to last season, Atletico Madrid, we lost them twice last season. You know, that's 2 times too many against Atleti. we have to be careful. We have to be very, very careful. So how confident are you in extending this unbeaten streak against Atleti, where we tripped up last season twice?
Yeah, I honestly think that we won't lost the game. I believe it's like a 50-50 whether we draw or we win. Atletico Madrid, of course, haven't been good. We haven't been perfect either. But of course, Atletico Madrid always get up for Madrid no matter how they're playing. When they're playing us, they always maybe play 5 at the back, and they expected to play 5 at the back again today according to multiple reports. So they're going to be solid, they're going to be tight. So of course it's going to take away a lot of what they do with the ball, because of Madrid it would be expected to contribute a lot to attack. We have Bellingham, Vinicius, Sergio Valverde might exactly be the one pushing forward, or it might be Modric on the right hand side in that right deep position. But I'm confident that we have enough to get a result and avoid defeat. The depth is without Diaz on the bench. It is a bit concerning, but Arda took a step forward. Trick is there as well, so we have options who can do well. The really concerning part for me is just of course Atletico Madrid. They're so tight defensively. So if they get a really good, which we always give up sometimes, it's going to be difficult to get back. But I'm confident that we can get a decent point. I think I'll be happy at if I'm being honest.
I mean, I would love to win because it's, like I said, it just feels like the hatred is at an all-time high right now against Atleti. And, I don't want to give them the satisfaction of a victory or taking points off us at this point. Because let's be honest, Atleti would be happy with a point. Even if it is at home for them, they would still be happy with the point. So far this season for Atleti, they've been... I think that we can draw parallels between our season and Atleti's season so far. With the fact is that Atleti have just done enough to get the wins, get draws, get whatever is required. In these last 4 games for Atleti, 1-0 win versus Celta, in which they were pretty disappointing, but they still got the win. A 1-1 draw versus Rayo Vallecano at Vallecas, and it was a poor game for them. Then just a narrow win against Leipzig in the Champions League, 2-1, where they won, relatively late on. I can't remember when it was, but I think it was late on. And then a really good performance against Valencia where they won 3-0. So that's obviously the highlight so far. But they've been similar to us. They've just been getting the wins on the board and hoping that the performances come later, because they made quite a few signings this summer. That it was a lot of change for Atletico Madrid. They brought in Lenormand, they brought in Conor Gallagher, they brought in Julian Alvarez as well. So they've brought in a lot of quality players, and that is something that we're going to have to be careful about. So if I was to quickly read you off the predicted lineup for Atletico Madrid: in goal, Jan Oblak. Centre backs, back 5, like you said, will probably be what they deploy, which would be Jose Maria Jimenez, Robin Lenormand, Reinildo, and then the wing backs of Marcos Llorente and Juan Roman Riquelme, and then the midfield 3 of Rodrigo de Paul, Koke, and Conor Gallagher, and then the front 2 of Antoine Griezmann and Julian Alvarez. So obviously, I'm going to start with the main thing, which is where we messed up last season, which is the fact that we played a relatively small back 2 of Alaba and Rudiger, and it really hurt us last season where Atleti just swung in crosses. I remember Samuel Lino had a particularly good game from left back last year. Obviously, this season they no longer have the aerial threat of Alvaro Morata, who's a really good header of the ball. Obviously now they've only got Julian Alvarez, who in the past has caused us problems with Manchester City, but in the past he has also struggled against us. So I'm not sure how to interpret that. Obviously Antoine Griezmann's always going to be a problem causer for us, with the positions that he takes up. I think that's something we have to be careful about, especially with my concerns over Tchouaméni's tracking. It's always a concern that I have with Tchouaméni. But one thing I would want to point out, off the bench they got Alexander Soloth, who obviously at the end of the last season he scored 4 goals against us. That's something we have to be careful about. Really, really tall guy. He's good in the air, and I think that's something we have to be really wary about that off the bench, if he comes off the bench or if he starts. I think this is obviously not going to be as prominent as last season because they don't have Alvaro Morata, but it's still something that I'm a bit scared about because, you know, we often do, you know, leave only a couple of people at the back, and so if Atleti were to hit us on the counter and, you know, swing in a few crosses, that's something we have to be careful about. So what are your thoughts on Atleti's attacking threat through these guys, Griezmann, Alvarez and Sörloth?
Yeah, well, Atletico Madrid, we know exactly what you're going to get. You know, we've been through the stadium multiple times. I think the biggest task for me will be the midfield. You know, he has specifically signed hard-working midfielders. Of course, some of the forward news have been flashy. You know, but if I'm being honest, I'm a bit more scared of Morata than of Alvarez, and Suarez over Alvarez. I think we can handle Alvarez. Our style will actually suit Alvarez a bit better, you know, compared to defending Morata, because when there's crosses in the box, sometimes we leave so much spaces that a good header of the ball can exploit, you know. So that's why Alvarez might be easier to handle. Militao's quick, the guy's quick, you know, they're both good defenders 1v1. So against them, so I think that's not Morata's strengths. I think leave him space in the box when there's these balls. I think Morata is a really good finisher. So remember, if you think about it, Real Madrid really handle these strikers well when it comes to guys like Julian Alvarez and those quick forwards that like to pitch the center. We actually handle them well. It's sometimes the goals where strikers have good instinct and can capitalize on mistakes and on just lapse of concentration when one movement can kill us. So I think that we have to be fully prepared for those simple mistakes. So for me, the Slovaks actually scored 4 against us. Milita wasn't that good in that game. He was injured and he was just coming back. He had to be substituted as well. Antonio Rudiger will be there. So I think their partnership has built up a bit this season. So I'm feeling a bit more confident with Militao at the back. You know, that's a really good positive for him. Militao and Rudiger. If they can continue building their partnership, that would be excellent because they would be the starting pair for Madrid. If I look at it and think about it, I think that there isn't anything that Atletico Madrid can throw at us that we can handle, and let's not forget that we have a stronger fullbacks starting this game, like you mentioned, and of course our number one goalkeeper is starting as well. Last year it was Kepa starting, which is Kepa is a good goalkeeper, but he's not Courtois who can handle those high balls, so who can handle the pressure of claiming these crosses on corners when things are maybe tough early on or late on the game. You know, I would trust Courtois to deal with those.
Yeah, I think having Militao is like a blessing for us in this situation because it cost us last season playing Alaba here. And, you know, Morata definitely enjoyed that. And, you know, especially on corners, you look at the guys that Atleti can bring up. Jimenez, Lenormand, they can bring up Soloth as well. So, you know, we've got 3 matchups for them on corners as well. So that's fine with Militao, Rudiger and Tchouaméni. So that's fine. But one thing I do want to talk about is their new signing, and I think their most popular signing, which is Conor Gallagher, and I think the Atleti fans absolutely love him. I think, you know, we've played against Conor Gallagher. Have we played against Conor? I don't think we have actually because we.
Yeah, when we played Chelsea, I don't think he started.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he started. So like. Yeah, so obviously this is a new challenge for us with Conor Gallagher, and I've watched Conor Gallagher over the years, and I think he's a very, very good player, and he's someone who can definitely cause you quite a few issues. He's very, very hard-working. I think that's the main thing about his game. He's a very, very hard-working midfielder, and he'll get up and down and do whatever the dirty work is required, and alongside guys like De Paul and Koke who will also run and do the dirty work themselves. and Marcos Llorente as well. So there's a very, very, very strong, hard-working midfield. Guys who aren't shy from getting at our midfielders. I think we're gonna have to match their intensity in our midfield, which we very much can do. We've got Tchouaméni there, we've got Valverde there, we've got Bellingham there. So I'm not too nervous about that. But the one thing about Conor Gallagher, I think, is the most nerve-wracking is. I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of years ago he used to play for Crystal Palace, and the main thing about his game when he was at Crystal Palace was the way he burst into the box and scored so many goals from that. He kind of removed it when it was at Chelsea, and he didn't do it as much as at Chelsea because he had Mason Mount next to him. And later on, Chelsea just became completely dysfunctional, so he couldn't do anything either. But at Atleti, it seems like so far, he's been asked to do that role once again, where he's just bursting into the box late on and scoring goals from that. That's something I'm a bit wary about, because already they're looking at guys like Gallagher and Griezmann who are already going to do that. So I'm a bit nervous about that, the late runs in the box, and therefore, someone like Tchouaméni is not picking him up and not tracking him. And I think that's something I'm a little bit nervous about. So I think that's something we have to watch, something we have to be careful about. So what are your thoughts on the prospect of playing Conor Gallagher, who's currently on form? The Atleti fans love him.
Yeah, of course, the exceptional wicket that he has as well would be a bit would of course be a bit tough for us, because let's remember we are still chilling in midfield. If we go back to 4, I think it's going to be better. I'm not saying that the Mbappe injury is a blessing. I'm just saying that handle these sort of players moving back to midfield forward would be the best course of action. So with Bellingham back there, we know he has an exceptional wicket. Valverde, Modric, and of course Tchouaméni. I think it's have to be a collective team effort, and I'm confident about it. I also think that the work that Modric is going to do today is going to be exceptional, because Modric is an exceptional worker, and at least for 60 minutes, 70 minutes, if he can dictate the game, control the pace, help us with chances, I think it's going to be a good game for us. And let's not forget that I'm saying 60 to 70 minutes, but Modric can also play 90 minutes. He played 90 minutes against Espanyol, I believe. So I think on the team before Espanyol, maybe Stuttgart, but on one of these games he played 90 minutes. And I honestly believe that I would expect him to have a good game today. Of course, we have us maybe playing Modric and Toni Kroos together. I believe that he can do it too. One of them can do it. It's going to be an exciting game. And yes, Gallagher is a threat. Yes, the midfield has an exceptional look at Atletico Madrid every time they play us. But if you think about it, I'm confident that we have an exceptional look at the midfield as well. And we have the force who can exploit just as much. So we just have to trust our players to remain defensively solid. Yes, they were lacking in concentration last week. There were some issues with defense, but I believe that the team should be up for this game. In order to win. We have an extra 48 hours of rest compared to Atletico Madrid. I don't know how important that would be, because it's still early in the season. So players should be a bit fresh. But it's still maybe a slight advantage for us, where we can maybe sustain a longer time, and we can add on pressing and pushing up the pitch and playing with more intensity.
Yeah, and I think one more thing on Atleti's team is that I think a lot of what they're going to do is going to be attacking down the wings, and you see that with the wingers, with wing backs that they're going to play probably, which is going to be Llorente and Riquelme, two rather attacking players, two very physical players, two very, very good players. I think Riquelme especially, I think he's a very, very good player. I like him a lot. Unfortunately, he plays for Atletico Madrid, but still, I think he's a very, very quality player. And he was the one who scored the goal in the Copa del Rey that knocked us out. So, is something that we're going to have to be careful about. It cost us two times last season. And Llorente actually, it cost us the third game where he scored late on and won them a draw. So it just felt at the Bernabeu. So this is definitely something we have to be careful about. The wing backs are a very, very good source of chance creation for them and source of goals for them at the end of the day, and that's something we have to be careful about. I'm happy because we got obviously Ferland Mendy's back. and he's going to be playing well. Hopefully he's going to be playing well. And then Carvajal obviously is is fresh from not playing as Alaves, so that's going to be a huge thing for us. And and I think eventually, hopefully, Camavinga can get stretch his legs and get some minutes in this game. But we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the attacking wing back threat from Atletico Madrid?
Yeah, they expected to continue what they did last year as well. We have strong fullbacks this season, and like I said, the exceptional. We can take off our midfield as well with Vicacia and combating that. Last year we had Garcia, who was more attacking minded as well, so there were some gaps. So of course we have mainly Carvajal on the bench. Garcia is doing better this season. Lucas Vasquez can always put in a good shift. So I'm confident that if the game gets late and if we're chasing the game of players are tired, I believe that we have improved fullback situation compared to last year, and of course last year as well. Ancelotti got the game where Ancelotti learned from his mistakes when Julius was more playing in typically as the 10, not more on the left side. So it was a bit difficult for us to close down these spaces, and we had to make amendments in the other few games. So I think because of the game last season, Ancelotti is not expected to make the same mistake twice. Yes, he's going to go back to 4 midfield, but it's unlikely he's going to be the actual diamond. June is going to have more impact in attack, but I'm sure he's going to be more on the left hand side, helping out, just like Valverde or Modric on the right hand side. Modric, actually, if you remember, I'm not too sure if he's going to play in the midfield or if he's going to be in that hybrid right centre midfield, right midfield position that Valverde normally has. That's the position Modric played when Zidane played his diamond with his squad at the tip of it, with Modric doing a lot of exceptional yards and hard work to help out the defense and attack, especially in these big games. If you remember the Bayern Munich game, he helped out Lucas Vasquez a lot in the 2018 season, and of course he assisted the goal in the 2017 Champions League final from making the movement on the right hand side. But he's older now; it's unexpected he's going to do that. So that's why I believe Valverde might be the player, and Modric and Germany in midfield, like occupying the 2 slots. But I would be confident if Modric plays on the right side as well, just like I'd be confident of Valverde. I think maybe the game might call out for Modric more if Atletico Madrid is deep. But on the counter attack, we know Valverde would love to get up the pitch. So I'm a bit more confident this year, and I'm not too concerned with the fullback situation at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I think this whole thing, it depends more on us than Atleti. It just depends on us playing well rather than Atleti playing well, because we are the better team than Atletico Madrid. It's just a question of motivation, a question of who works harder, and that's I hate how it boils down to in these games, but that is how it boils down to in these games. That it is just a matter of a matter of who works harder, who will give more for the game, for the occasion, and often it is, most of the time it is Atletico Madrid, because they want to win this game more than any other game of the season. So that's something we struggled with last season 2 times, and hopefully we don't struggle with it again. But yeah, that is something we have to be careful about. Let's talk about Real Madrid now, because that's enough about Atletico Madrid. I've had enough of Atletico Madrid. Let's talk about our starting lineup. Goalkeeper Courtois. You've already mentioned how having Courtois in net is much better than having Kepa in net, because of the fact that he's going to be able to reach those crosses that Atleti put in. That's going to be huge to have him back and have that presence in the box, because he's just a fantastic goalkeeper. So yeah, how big do you think Courtois could be in this game?
Yeah, Courtois is the best goalkeeper in the world, and let's not forget that he's back to his best immediately. There was a time where he needed to take time to get back. He was back at his best within a couple of weeks from coming back. So I'm really confident with Courtois back. He's still the best goalkeeper in the world. If you look at it, I would expect Quarter to make a save that even the other good goalkeeper like Alisson and Testigan won't make. So that's why for me, Neuer, the only goalkeeper better than him in the past 10 years is Manuel Neuer in 2014, 2015. Because Neuer will actually make these saves and be good on the ball. Alisson and Alisson good on the ball. But won't really like make those saves that Kota would make, those like exceptional saves. So I believe that he is the best in the world despite the injury. I was for 1 year, but still the best in my opinion.
Yeah, and having that presence in goal is just like a blessing. It's just not. It's a blessing, and yeah, that's you can't underestimate how important it is to have Thibaut Courtois back. Then right back, I've already talked about Dani Carvajal and obviously the left back Follow Mendy. Both these guys have to be important. But like you said, Fran Garcia is available on the bench if we need to change the game. And yeah, he's been good this season so far. I've really enjoyed Fran Garcia's performances. He hasn't been a bad defensively either. So I think Carlo Ancelotti would definitely be a bit more comfortable playing Fran Garcia in these situations than perhaps keeping Follow Mendy on just because he doesn't trust Fran Garcia. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on the fullbacks right now?
Yeah, I agree with you. Garcia has done well this season coming off the bench. Lucas Vasquez has been good. Sometimes coming off the bench, he's a bit inconsistent because sometimes he has these amazing games and sometimes he has those weird games. When I mean weird, he doesn't play bad, but like the ending last against Alaves where he gave away the ball, which of course isn't totally his fault, but it just happens sometimes, But he's a player that I trust. He's played big games for the club. In big situations, so I'm actually confident that he can do well, in my opinion. Both Lucas and Garcia, it's sometimes the extra energy that will be coming out to close the game, which is impactful. Garcia and Lucas always gets up the pitch. Garcia sends in countless crosses almost every game, and they're both fit. So even when they start, they do that for 90 minutes. So I would expect them, even if they come off for 10, 5, 20 minutes, that he can contribute in attack and even get back. So I'm a big fan of Garcia. I don't think we criticize him, but if we sign Alphonso Davies, we have to expect the exact same thing. He's not a perfect defender. So, but we just have to live with it. Marcelo wasn't a perfect defender, but we have to adjust it. So that's why I'm okay with Garcia starting because we can't always we can't complain that Mendy is a good attacker and open space in attack. But when we have Garcia, who is a good attacker, we have to expect some sort of chop off in defense, and I'm fine with that if you have two different type of fullbacks.
Yeah, and let's talk about the centre backs because we've already discussed them, but it's so important to have Eder Militao back in this game, as opposed to having Alaba. And it's just it's such a blessing to have these two back, and they're both playing very well. Especially Eder Militao, I think he's had a really good start to the season so far. I think the partnership still needs a little bit of work because there are just some moments where it just feels like this is not. It feels a bit chaotic, but that only comes with time, and it does look like they're starting to gel, and they're starting to gel really well. So. Give it some time and hopefully they'll keep plugging away and keep working well together. Just a quick note on Vallejo. He had a really bad performance against Alaves when he came on, and I felt kind of bad for him. He was his first game of the season, and we saw Jacobo Ramon come on, ready to come onto the pitch, and then they go ahead and concede 2 goals, and he's told to sit back down. I felt bad for Jacobo Ramon in that situation, but Vallejo, I think that probably banishes him to the bench unless we're winning like 6-0 or something. So I think we can't really count on Jesus Vallejo anymore. But yeah, for sure, I think these two at the back are very, very good. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the centre backs?
Yeah, until the Copa del Rey, I think he should be behind every single centre back option that we have played. And Jacobo as well, because he isn't playing regularly for the past couple of seasons. So either Aldo or either at Madrid. So I don't think that he is suited to this team anymore. It's a player that I actually waited on, and I said, you know what, give him a chance and let's see how he does, because Nacho is leaving, and even if he's going out, you never know, he can come back and do well. But he was injured a lot last year. He came back, he got injured this year as well, and of course that means he would never build up some sort of consistency. So this should be his last season at Madrid. We gave him the chance, so I don't think that it should be renewed. And if I'm being honest, it's a similar situation to Diaz, our striker, Mariano, or Jovic, because they just didn't do that well. The good news for him is that we didn't spend that much money on him. So it's not like this big flop who never really did well. We had high hopes, but it just never worked out, and that's fine. So the centre backs have been good. We have good options at centre back, especially Chouameni. And hopefully Yakubu can get a chance, and hopefully he does well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just surprised how long his contract run for. We signed him like 2017, right? And he's still here. I don't know how that's possible.
2017 to 2018, he's been here.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Maybe when he went to Wolves, or he went on loan to Granada, maybe we extended his contract so that he won't leave for free. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But maybe we extended it sometime.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's probably for 5 years or something like that, and yeah, this at least one more season of Vallejo, and that's it. But yeah, that. I feel kind of bad for him, but what can you do? What can you do? Then the midfield. Obviously these guys are going to have to be important. Like I said, I mean they're going to have to match the intensity of Atleti. Valverde and Chouameni, be careful of the runners from midfield, because that's where I think Atleti can definitely hurt us. I think the most important thing for Modric in this game is to provide that quality. He needs to provide the quality to break down the opposition defence, and provide that little bit of edge in the final third that we've been lacking at points so far this season, where someone like Toni Kroos had a killer instinct to find that ball and create that pass before the really good chance. So I think he just needs to have that killer instinct in this game, Modric, and execute those passes that are going to lead to really good chances for us. I think we've struggled with that so far this season, but obviously now with Kylian Mbappe missing from this game, we're going to be returning back to what we did last season, which I'm happy about. I think that could definitely benefit us in this game. But that means Jude Bellingham especially is going to have a really, really good game. And he's had a really good season so far when he's played, and he's been very, very good. So I have full faith in Jude Bellingham to get that form and score some goals today. So hopefully Jude Bellingham plays really well, and Modric, like I said, get that killer instinct, get some assists, and let's smash Atletico Madrid. So what are your thoughts on the formation, and obviously the four midfielders that won't be playing today?
Yeah, like I said, it's good to have us with the defending Atletico Madrid out wide, and of course they like to flood central positions, so we can also have deep runners from deep as well to get into their box, like Valverde, Bellingham, maybe Modric at the edge of the box, not really in the box, but at the edge of the box, where he can just occupy numbers, help us in these transitions that we need to break them down. So yeah, it's going to be good for us. We have to. Mbappe injury is a blow, and he just picked up some sort of steam. So like you told me personally, it's a blow because maybe this could have been his first big game where he actually arrived. But you know what? We have to wait on his first officially big game when he's back, which should come against Barcelona. So if I'm being honest, we just have to use the positives, and the format is the positive for me.
Yeah, I mean, the Mbappe injury is just a huge shame. Like he's finally starting to get that form together. The front three is finally starting to click properly together, and Bellingham is finally starting to click together properly. And then he gets an injury. It's just like it just feels like such bad timing, and that's how every injury is at this club right now. It just feels like we're getting so many injuries, and it's always at the worst time, and it's always being so bad, and it's like it just feels like there is some sort of curse on the club right now. But what can you do? You're just gonna have to deal with the blows and just carry on as we are. But Yeah, it's very annoying to have Kylian Mbappe injured at this current moment in time. I think we can obviously cope without Kylian Mbappe. I just think it's just an unnecessary injury right now, and obviously that means we're gonna have to be returning to what we did last season with Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo up front. Obviously, let's start with Rodrigo because he's been excellent so far this season. I think this has been his best season so far in a Real Madrid shirt so far. It must be said because at any given moment, Rodrigo could have a patch of 10 games where he just goes completely barren and he can't find the back of the net for the love of the God. So it feels like so far this season he's been excellent and he continues to really impress and he's sticking to his right hand side, which I keep reiterating every week. But it is so good from Rodrigo when he's playing, he's playing tactically disciplined and he's sticking to that right hand side and he's playing well there. I think it's so important for us to do that. I think he's gonna have to get rid of that this game and go on and help Vinny on the left a little bit more in this game. So all of the good things that Rodrigo's done this season, he has to scrap it and go back to what he's been doing for the last few years. But I think Rodrigo's gonna have a huge part to play in this game. So what are your thoughts on Rodrigo's part?
Yeah, like you said, him playing on the right hand side a bit more now is really good because he has more space. With Mbappe and Vinicius and Bellingham, they've been occupied a lot. So him being a bit stationed out there, not stationed out there, but a bit more on that side is helping him out a lot. But this time he'd have to be a bit closer to goal. Maybe on the left, maybe helping out with link up play through the middle. So he won't have a bigger goal tonight. So which might mean that might be in a bit of a cluster, might be restricted a bit, but it's all essential maybe to free up space for Bellingham, Valverde, and Vinicius in attacking spaces. So yeah, like I said, the Mbappe injury is a blow because everything was starting to come together, but we just have to make it do this for like a few weeks until he's back.
Yeah, and he's going to be back after the international break, like you said, probably going to play against Barcelona. That's obviously going to be a huge game. But let's talk about the main protagonist of this tie, though, Mr. Vinicius Junior. Everything is about Vinicius going into this game. A lot of negativity from Atleti's side, a lot of racism from Atleti's side, it must be said. I saw a post on Twitter, and I don't want to give this guy the attention, but it's just like blatant racism in a post, and he's just covering up like it's nothing. He deserves it and stuff like that. It's just plain stupidity from a certain section of Atleti's fans, and obviously all of the stuff, trying to rile up the crowd and getting them to do all of this. The face mask stuff is just like it's just pure. It is horrific. Like I don't understand how they can say this with a straight face and say, oh no, it's not because Vinicius is not black. He's just because he's provocative, and it's just like you're doing all of this for one guy. It's so crazy to me. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in La Liga. I know guys like Neymar and Dani Alves had all of this, but I think this is just to another level at this current moment in time, and I think this is just a ridiculous level of racism right now that Vinicius is experiencing. And hopefully in this game, Vinicius shuts them up. These last two games, Vinicius has been pretty damn good, especially in the Espanyol game. Hopefully he can really shut them up, and hopefully this is a game, because I don't, in these last few games for Vinicius against Atleti, he hasn't been actually that good. But hopefully this is the game where Vinicius scores and dances on Atletico Madrid at the Metropolitano. I would love to see it, because Vinicius, he deserves as much to score against Atleti, and hopefully this is the game where he just absolutely destroys Atletico Madrid, because I would love nothing more than for that to happen. What are your thoughts on Vinicius right now, and hopefully his game going into this Atleti game?
I agree with you. Against Atletico Madrid is more due to the fact that they always restrict him with a lot of numbers. It's going to be another difficult game because that's the plan again, especially with one as attacker. But hopefully his work tonight in 1v1 situations, or this more on that one bit of magic, can can be the difference maker. I'm not expecting him to score a hat trick. I'm not expecting him to be consistent for 90 minutes, but that 1 or 2 moments he has can decide the game is what makes him unique and makes him a special player. So yeah, sometimes he have quiet games, especially against teams like Atletico Madrid, but I would expect him to be well and to do well. If I'm being honest, he's a different player compared to the others that can have those moments.
Yeah, 100%, and it's definitely a huge game from him. Like in the run up to his Ballon d'Or, if he can show the world what he's about against Atletico Madrid, it would be huge. It would be absolutely huge. In front of this crowd, like he did at Mestalla a couple of months ago. Hopefully he can do it again, and it's definitely what we need right now. So a huge result needed for Real Madrid. And yesterday, great news from Osasuna, where from Pamplona, where Osasuna beat Barcelona 4-2. It was a very good game from Osasuna. I mean, Barcelona played a B team basically, and they got battered as a result. So I wouldn't say anything about Barcelona's performance, but still, it was really good to see that Barcelona finally dropped points after this amazing start to the season for them. So I think this is a very important game in which we need to close the gap. If we win, we close the gap to 1. We close the gap to 1 point, which is absolutely fantastic. And we need to make sure they feel the pressure. We need to make sure that they don't get off lightly after that performance versus Osasuna. So yeah, I think this could be a huge game for us and something I want to see us perform well in. So yeah, if you were to give a final match prediction, what would you give this game?
If I have to give 2, I would say that we win this game 2-1 or 1-1, but it might show 1-1, but come to the end of the weekend, we might just edge it. We have enough quality, and Atletico Madrid's quality is yet to be on full show. I believe that our team has a bit more chemistry and understanding than Atletico, and despite the fact that it's a difficult stadium.
Yeah, I mean,
with Mbappe's injury, I think that we can just sneak 2 goals in.
I think for me, in this game, I feel strangely confident. Going into the Atleti game, normally I'm feeling, oh god, we've got to play Atleti. Oh god, this is going to be a drag, and we're gonna suffer and all of this. I don't know. I feel strangely confident going into this game for some reason. I'm feeling a 3-1 victory. I'm feeling a 3-1, maybe 3-0. Maybe 3-0. I don't know. I don't know if that's jinxing it. I don't know if that's giving it too much. But I don't know why I feel so strangely confident after ahead of an Atleti game. But I do.
I think maybe our Barcelona loss. I think we're under a bit less pressure. Even if we draw a point, it's still going to be 4 how much it started, and even if we draw, it's still down to 3, and then 1 win can change things later on. So I think maybe that's why.
Yeah, it could be. I just don't know why. But I might as well get my prediction off. Say 3-0. Say 3-0. That just sounds crazy. Real Madrid beating Atletico Madrid 3-0 at this point in history, but. Whatever. That's my prediction for this game. But nonetheless, tough game going into this one. We're going to be playing Lille midweek against. Are we at home or away? I believe we're away to Lille. But
yes, away.
Yeah, so heading to France for that one. So yeah, this is obviously the main one. But that is it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this match preview. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.